Welcome. So, you've got your Lord of the Rings extended versions, and you want to watch them. Either you've seen the theatrical cuts or you haven't, but you want to watch the longer, better versions because the theatrical versions are for wimps. But they're so long, you're not sure if you're going to have time. Fortunately, there's a number of ways to go about it. As you know, the extended versions, these editions anyways, and the Blu-ray, come on 2 discs. So you basically have about an hour and 40-some minutes of movie per disc. If you're short on time, you can watch a disc a day. That's fairly simple. But I discovered another way to go about it. It's actually a little more fun. And if you've already seen the extended versions, you can do this too. If you've watched my Harry Potter videos, you know that I'm interested in turning a movie into a show and trying to tell the same story in a slightly different format. Basically, you can take the 3 movies over 6 discs and carve them up into 13 episodes, which is akin to any cable show, really. Each of these episodes runs about 45 to 55 minutes, so it's not an exact science, but you see a lot of cable shows, like HBO shows or Showtime stuff or whatever, that run about 50 minutes or so. So that was my approach here. So essentially, an epic film trilogy becomes an epic 13-episode miniseries. So here's how the episodes will break down. The first 2 movies are easy because you just take the first disc and you chop it in half. Now the first episode goes from the beginning of Fellowship until the fight in the tower between the 2 wizards. That's about 53 minutes. Guy goes up to the ceiling and then credits, basically. I'd like to make some end credits. Anyway, the second episode starts with the next scene with Frodo and Sam going through the gardens, and they run into the other 2 hobbits, Merry and Pippin. That opens the second episode, and then that one runs all the way until the end of that disc with the Council of Elrond. You will be the Fellowship of the Ring. The second episode runs about 52 minutes. Episode 3 leads off the third disc, where Aragorn is visiting his mom's grave. Yeah, that's his mom. Didn't you know? Yeah. And the gang sets out on their journey. And that episode runs all the way until the guys escape from the caves. That episode runs about 46 minutes. So episode 4 begins with the guys running through the forest on their way to the elf city of Lothlorien, and that runs all the way to the end. The 4th episode runs for about 53 minutes. So that's your first 4 episodes. On to the second movie, we open, if you've seen the movie, you know it opens with a little flashback to Gandalf's fight with the fire monster, and then Frodo wakes up from it because it was a dream. So that opens episode 5, and then that episode runs all the way to the return of Gandalf, and he says,
I come back to you now, at the turn of the tide.
That episode is about 54 minutes. Episode 6, picking up from the end of last episode, Gandalf and the guys trudging through Fangorn, and Gandalf giving them exposition. The episode ends with Frodo and Sam running into Faramir and the other Gondorian Rangers, and Faramir has a speech. That ends episode 6, and episode 6 runs for about 54 minutes. Episode 7, which starts at the beginning of disc 2 of the second film, starts with the Rohan wagon train and the guy just kind of shooting the breeze. Gimli's telling some kind of story. And that episode goes all the way through to the scene with Theoden. Where is the horse and the rider? That ends that episode. And that episode runs for about 55 minutes. The final episode of Two Towers, episode 8, opens with the Entmoot. We just finished saying good morning. And it runs all the way to the end of the movie, comprising about 52 minutes. So that's the second film. The third film is a little trickier because it's actually quite a bit longer than the other 2 even still. So the third film is going to be 5 episodes, and one of those episodes is going to run across disc 1 and disc 2. Now the first episode of Return of the King, episode 9, starts from the beginning with the whole origin of Gollum scene. Episode 9 ends, this is really easy, with Gandalf and Pippin arriving at Minas Tirith. They go over the hill and the city is there. Episode 9 runs for about 46 minutes. Episode 10 picks up from there with Gandalf and Pippin going into Minas Tirith to meet with Denethor. And it ends in the scene where Denethor talks Pippin into singing him a song. So that song closes at episode 10. Episode 10 runs for about 47 minutes. Episode 11 picks up from there with the scene of Aragorn and the others, the Rohan gang, getting all their horsemen together, and runs to the end of the disc, and it picks up on disc 2. And it goes for not very long until Frodo escapes from the cave, and then like a ghost version of Cate Blanchett shows up, gets him on his feet again. So that's episode 11. Coming up at the end here, episode 12 opens about 10 minutes into disc 2. The Rohirrim, the cavalry, are camping out. Merry and Éowyn have a little conversation, and then they all set off. Then there's the whole big battle, and the episode ends with Gandalf and Aragorn and the others having a conference about what to do next, and they decide that they're going to storm the Black Gate to give Frodo time to destroy the ring. Episode 12 runs for about 47 minutes. And then the rest is easy. Episode 13, I thought about making episode 13 just the endless ending that everyone talks about with this movie, but it's long. It's about 15 minutes. But actually that's not long enough for a whole episode. So the last episode, episode 13, starts about 59 minutes into disc 2. Aragorn has a scene where he picks up the magic stone and has his little showdown. And then it runs to the end. And that's about 52 minutes. So that's it. That's your Lord of the Rings miniseries. I hope this video has been helpful, and enjoy.